Alright, cue the bells. Come on, come on. It's September already. Let's go. I really liked the first Buggos game, so when the demo to the sequel was brought to my attention, I leapt at the chance to play it. Buggos 2 is Buggos, but better. Almost. Let's cover the good first. No More Nutrients was a really good change. It either choked you to death or it produced so many as to make the resource utterly superfluous. Now, all you need to worry about is two things: supply cap and building space. The forced evolutions mechanic is really interesting. Being able to choose a permanent huge buff to a particular buggo really shook up my build. I never bothered with warriors much in the first game, but in my first playthrough of the demo, they comprised the bulk of my army. To be honest, in my second playthrough, they're still the star of the show. Flamers can kill an attack stone dead, but with upgraded warriors, fire does nothing. It's great. Forced evolutions being mostly random means that different runs are going to progress quite differently, and I'm curious to see how this is going to shake out when the full game comes out. I really like the crystals too. It forces you to consider what you're building and where to get the most out of them. It makes expansions an actual thing on the map, and it gives you this organic bonus objective to capture and hold these locations. And because I think the humans benefit from the crystals too, that introduces another element to consider when determining strategy. Also, it has to be said, the game looks so much better than the first. There's a lot more personality on display in both the Buggos, but especially the humans, and it makes leading the swarm that much more fun to watch. However, the game is not without its issues. Buggos 2 still hasn't solved the problem of builders being incredibly slow and inefficient with laying down goo. Builders seem to do this whenever they feel like it, and that means it can take a while. Since goo provides a lot of bonuses, you're gonna want to cover at least your base in it to maximize the use out of the space. It also just looks nicer, and it looks a hell of a lot nicer than patches of ungooed ground around the edges and corners, like a casserole dish that hasn't been cleaned properly. Builders don't have this issue with buildings. You want them to build a building, they can't wait to hurl themselves into it. I don't know why they have the reticence to spread goo that they do. It's really annoying. Also, deleting a building doesn't seem to always remove its waypoint marker, and I swear, sometimes I deleted a waypoint for a building that doesn't exist anymore and a different building would lose its waypoint. I really think the waypoints should show you what buggo they're sending. Since each building spawns one kind of buggo, it should be able to indicate that visually. The biggest issue of all, though, is that I feel in Buggos 2 I'm expected to have way more fine control over my army, splitting my forces, being tactical with sending spawns in certain directions, all that stuff. And that's fine, good even, but without control groups, it's a fucking nightmare. The game is crying out for control groups or some kind of button on the UI that instantly selects all kinds of a particular spawner on the map. Like what the first game had. I think I like having multiple different production structures instead of just the hive producing everything, but for that to work, we need better control of all of it. I also think waypoint queues wouldn't go amiss. Overall though, Buggos 2 is shaping up to be a lot better than the first, and I'm really excited to see where it goes next. Hatching on the 26th this month. If I had to describe this one in one word, it would be frantic. I didn't know what to expect with a card-based cooking game, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised that it's chaos. I feel like the game isn't about developing a system to deal with the stress of completing tasks so much as it is about how difficult developing a system is with both the time pressure and the mess. While the time pressure can be alleviated with judicial use of the pause button, nothing progresses while time is frozen, obviously. So preparing food, cleaning dishes, and tending crops are all stuff you need to have set up, and they all take time. Thankfully, at least in the demo, your customers are quite patient, and I've never had one time out on me yet. I imagine they'll get a lot more demanding later game. Now the mess is less easy to manage. Cards go everywhere. They fly out of fridges, out of card packs, out of sinks and off knives, and they don't mind shoving other cards around that get in the way. card packs you buy throw themselves down wherever they want. Coins can be stacked, but half the time they won't flight away. You've already made a coin stack and will make a new one. Whatever system you develop to manage it is going to need to bend, otherwise it's going to break. Here's the thing. This is fun. Trying to look for something and discovering how it's made its way to the other side of the board or become mixed up amongst some other crowd of ingredients, struggling against the chaotic tide of coins, condiments, and chopped cucumbers is part of what makes this game so engaging. Of course, with all the mess comes redundancy and excess. One of the things you'll want to remember is that you can sell unwanted items to the cat. It's the paw print card slot here. If you manage to miss that the first time around in level 2, like I did, you're completely screwed in later levels when that becomes very necessary to get what you actually need from the random card packs. I had a whole chunk of criticism written down here about the game as overly punishing of mistakes, considering what you need to get is down to RNG, just because I missed this tiny sliver of tutorialization 3 levels ago. Put a $sign there or something. This little frustration aside, Abra-Cooking-Dabra is a fun, frantic, flailing time, and we'll be seeing more of it sometime later in 2025. I didn't think I'd get this one as much as I did. A couple minutes in and I was certain I'd slide right off. 10 more minutes in and I was hooked. The atmosphere is impeccable. You aren't on the ground with your team, nor are you a detached godlike figure observing overhead. You're sitting at a bunch of screens. I thought that layer of abstraction would take away from the tension of watching your guys sweep through dangerous corridors, but it absolutely doesn't. The sound design went all out. Everything's got the hiss of crummy computer speakers. The rattle of gunfire feels like it's clicking on the soldiers' mics. I only just noticed the gun flash shows up on the little soldier screens. That's so cool! But the best part is your soldiers, because the way they talk over the radio was inspired, not just to you, but to themselves and each other. Their panicked cries can really stress you out when you're racing to feed them healing stems. The music is absolutely killer too. Moody and tense for most of the game, even in menus, but escalating to this momentary industrial crescendo to signify that Xenos have spawned into the map.
Target spotted!
The fact that you can see doors open on the map, even if rooms are in the fog of war, means that you have both an early way of detecting if a Xeno is passing through it, but it also serves as this brilliantly subtle way to ratchet up the tension without doing anything else. There's a few things that bother me. One thing is that equipment is always removed. If you, for example, want to upgrade one of your soldiers' guns while passing it off to a new soldier, you're completely out of luck. It also bothers me that soldiers use Sir when just using Commander or Control would be a lot better, in my opinion. I know this probably doesn't faze most people, but I'm not a Sir, and we're supposed to be playing a player insert squad commander character anyway, not some established character. So, you know, I'm just saying, if there's an option to have them say ma'am instead, that'd be cool. Other common frustrations include losing your turret if you're setting it up and you get attacked or interrupted in some way. You just lose the turret. It doesn't like give you another chance to set it up later. And if a character who's extracting gets interrupted during that, this happens a lot with VIPs I've noticed, then the VIP will just hold position, which is the very last thing it should be doing. But these are ultimately small criticisms. Even the last one can be overcome by just paying attention, which you're supposed to be doing anyway, and the game already does good in so many other areas that I'm willing to give it a pass. For now. I mean, it did just recently come out after all, and full disclosure, I bought the game itself. What you've been seeing is footage of that, not the demo, but I think the demo has most of the features you've seen demonstrated here anyway. Long and short is that Xenopurge is great, and if any of this piqued your interest, you should definitely buy it. Kill aliens, collect intel, rescue VIPs, exercise extremely poor judgment as a commanding officer. This video's going kinda long, huh? Have you liked this video yet? Do that, because we're about to get into the lightning round. Oh man, this is good. I wish I could find the words for this one. It really deserves it, but it keeps eluding me. It's about paranoia and the end of the world and how we treat each other. It tests your humanity at every turn, even as it demands you to test the humanity of your guests. God, I wish I could pull together more thoughts about this game. You're just gonna have to trust me that this is absolutely worth your time. No, I'm Not a Human will be knocking at our door sometime in Q3 2025, and I can't wait. Sometimes a game can just be a nice time. I've been getting into auto battlers a lot recently, and I feel like this is a pretty good entry into the genre. The UI is solid, the UX feels good. I love that you can move buildings around. It makes optimization a breeze. It means that you can focus on acquiring the buildings you want first and figuring out where they go later. And if you get a relic that forces you to change things up so you can take advantage of it, being able to move buildings as well as selling them actually makes this tenable. The RPG-style items that you get at the end of runs, most of the runs anyway, seem to be the core of the meta progression, which I'm fine with. And combined with the relics earned through gameplay, that gives you enough to play with when it comes to building weird builds. I definitely like to see items easier to access though, or being able to reroll some of their attributes or something. Being able to equip and unequip weapons by double-clicking would also be nice, but no, I'm just nitpicking. Oh, there's also Bunny. So that's good. This one's coming out in Q3 too. Why is with all these Q3 releases? Really interesting minimalist puzzle game about sinking German ships with the power of Morse code. That's interesting. One thing I'm worried about is when the game is just one row, it's good, but as more and more rows get added, it becomes extremely unfun to constantly switch between them, especially with the risk of a misclick. A button that quickly discards the order, or even better, 2 button presses for dots and dashes would be appreciated as a quality of life thing, even though I know that's not how it's supposed to work. Still, Morse fascinated me to keep going until the end of the demo, and I'm curious to see where it goes next. The radio operators are telling me that Morse is coming soon. Pretty good bullet hell roguelike that's about a wizard building a ridiculous gun, and on concept alone, that has earned it a spot in this video. One thing I've found is that taking damage is a little bit too easy to do. This game is really crying out for a dodge or lifesteal or something like a 1-point damage shield that can recharge. I struggle especially with these cat-skulled enemies. I know it's bullet hell, but it feels like my options for engagement when it comes to this is limited. The conceit of building a ridiculous gun actually takes a while to spin up. It's not like scrolls are just lying around everywhere. Scrolls are used to upgrade you get it. It's basically a good game though, with really good bones. I think the art style's fun, the gameplay is smooth, and meta progression feels like it's in the right place. I don't think I have much more to say about this one. Run and gun and have fun, and try not to die to the cat skull fucks. This one is jumping out of the well on the coming soon of... A horror clicker game doesn't seem like it should work, but this one kinda does. I mean, it clearly worked for me. I lost like, let me check, almost 7 hours to it. 7 hours? The atmosphere is top-notch. The graphics are murky and oppressive, but stark at the same time. It works great in concert with the similarly murky and oppressive music. And dungeon delving is fun, I think. It more or less plays itself with some minor input from you in choosing the form of upgrades and using items, but it's a clicker game, so it works. I love that all we can see of our character is eyes behind a helmet. It's just detailed enough to give you all the right impressions without revealing too much. You might be wondering where exactly all the horror is, especially since we seem to just be fighting mice and gay corvids. Well, you eventually unlock the ability to get a companion that fights you in the dungeon, and to obtain it, you need to speak to... that. And you can't get close if you already have a companion, so you either need to let it die in the dungeons, or... Also, med progression is handled via speaking to the hole with a giant face in it, so that's all normal and fine. Horripilant will be reborn in Blood and Scream someday in the future. Looking forward to it. I mean, it's basically a running joke at this point. I may as well just lean into it. Thanks for watching. June was a good demo harvest, wasn't it? Here's hoping the next one is just as good. If you liked this video, prove it. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments and subscribe on the way out if you want. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and by the way, I hope you like the little gal. She's here to stay.